Where does a movie franchise go when it dies? Apparently back into the theaters like years later. Anyways, let's talk about that Crow remake. Welcome to the Cinefanatics. My name is Robert Adams, and today I've got a pretty spoiler-free review for the Crow remake. Now, before I get started on this, let me know your thoughts, feelings, and opinions of it down below in the comments. Make sure you hit that like button and subscribe. I am saying mostly spoiler-free because I am going to talk about like a few details that really don't matter, but it's just things that overall I feel like really help necessitate the drive of where this movie is going or what it's trying to do. I know as of right now, getting out of the theater, coming back home, last I saw, this movie has a 6% on Rotten Tomatoes, which, oof, and I could completely understand why. I'm gonna try to be a little positive here up front. Overall, like, I did not enjoy this movie. But let me say some positive things up front so we can get that out of the way. In a bubble, it's a decent movie. It still has a lot of the issues that I'm going to be talking about here in a little bit. But on its own, if you had never seen the original, if you were unaware of this character, I think it does a decent job driving home the ideas of what the Crow is. Now, I have never read the comics, so I'm not familiar with the comics and how they did it. I'm only familiar with the original 1994 Crow, directed by Alex Proyas. I've never seen any of the other Crow movies, the direct-to-video. I've never seen the Crow TV show. I don't know anything else of the Crow other than the original movie, which, based off of that, I did spend 2 Halloweens dressed up as the Crow. So I am a fan of the original movie, and now here we are with this remake. In a bubble, again, if you're not comparing it to the original, it's a fine movie. It does what it needs to do. It's entertaining. That's about it. Well, I'm going to say the acting. Bill Skarsgard does a fantastic job, and I think this is definitely a role that I would want to see him play. When you're saying, hey, we're going to do another Crow movie, Bill Skarsgard's one of the first people that would immediately come to mind as, I bet he would be a good Crow. And I think he did a really decent job with what this movie was giving him to play with. FKA Twigs, while I don't really know anything about her music, I think she did a decent job with this. Now, granted, I'm used to Shelley really only being a part of the movie for like the first 5 minutes, and not, like, at some points this damn near felt like Shelley the movie instead of the Crow. But not taking up at least half the runtime. So, I like what she did. That's going to be about it for the acting. Yes, we got Danny Huston in this as, like, the villain. Yeah. Well, we'll talk about that in a minute. So, some of the bad things with this. Right off the bat, the number one thing that, like, myself and what I've already seen people talk about online is the comparisons to the original 94 Crow movie. Yes, it would be nice to be able to rate and review this movie of its own merits, which is basically what I just did. But inevitably, you're going to have to compare it to the original 1994 classic. And that's what I was doing the entire time I'm watching this movie. The pacing is so far off right off the bat. That is the number one thing that I feel like kills this movie. The original movie, Eric and Shelley are killed like within the first 5 to 10 minutes of the movie. And then we spend the entire movie of Eric becoming the Crow and getting his revenge on Top Dollar and all the gang members. This movie, we spend probably at least the good first 45 minutes setting up the relationship between Eric and Shelley, and we're kind of sort of aware of who the bad guys are, but we don't necessarily know exactly why. Apparently there's a video on a cell phone that they're trying to cover up, and that's the main point of issues with this. Otherwise, like, the villains in this movie are just extremely generic. I know we hear some of their names at some point, but none of them have the personalities like the villains in the original. Like, T-Bird, Fun Boy, we know these names, we know what they do and the interactions that they have with Eric Draven in the original, and we just don't get that kind of fun with this. The original movie, again, like, the whole thing is kicked off within the first 5 to 10 minutes, and then it's every couple of scene changes or so, we've got some action, we've got some drama, we've got some Eric Draven exacting revenge on these guys. In this movie, again, 45 minutes, and then we're finally into, oh, hey, they're getting killed. And then it's another, like, 30 minutes of Eric trying to figure out what the hell's going on. Like, oh, I'm dead. Oh, I can't be killed. Oh, this is all because I love Shelly. I should go get revenge on these guys. Okay, let me figure out how to do all this. Like, geez, pick up the pace on this. Like, it was so slow. And then we finally get to the exacting revenge, and it's like the final 20 minutes of this movie, which is where all, like, the blood, the gore, and all the effects are at, which were nice. It would have been nice if it was the entire movie instead of shoved at the very end. We did all of this build-up for very little payoff. While it is cool, the effects look nice and everything, I wanted more out of it. That being said, in this movie, we don't actually get the Crow putting on the makeup, the famous Crow makeup, black eyes and the black lips and stuff, the Glasgow type smile. We don't get any of that until right before he goes into that final battle at the end. So we spent most of this movie with some random dude wandering around, wondering what the hell's going on. And to make matters worse, when he finally gets into, all right, it's time to get my revenge mode, putting on the makeup, whatever, you would think, yeah, this is going to be the big emotional turn for this movie. We are feeling with him. We hate these guys. We want to see them get murdered and slaughtered. We're ready to bring in all the force, and there needs to be some giant musical backing montage while we see him, like, put on the Crow outfit and makeup and whatnot. What do we get? Enya. We get Enya. Now, that being said, I grew up with parents who liked Enya. I like Enya's music. It's very restful, relaxing. It's not what I would expect to see in a Crow movie. Maybe it's just me because I've already had that history with listening to Enya in my house growing up, that it took me out of the movie, but I don't feel like it felt that appropriate for that scene. That should have been like some good, like, hardcore throwback to, like, 90s, like, grunge, or some, like, angsty, maybe like Tool or some Nine Inch Nails or something. Not Enya. It was just a little weird and off-putting, but otherwise, again, like, pacing was off, not getting to know all the characters, the villains, and what exactly were they doing and why. Is it really something as simple as, like, well, we gotta kill all the people that saw this video on this cell phone? That's what it feels like, and it just felt like such a drag. Again, putting it into a perspective of the 1994 Crow movie, while it had its issues at the time, I'm not saying it's a perfect movie either. Go back and watch it. The CGI fire on the buildings, laughable. But it is now a classic. It is very much a cult classic, and there's a reason why people like that movie. It is pure entertainment. This one, not so much. Only if you are familiar with the original. So overall, I would probably say skip this one, especially if you are a fan of the original. Just go watch the original again. You're going to have a lot more fun with it. It's a lot more stylized. It's very 90s. It's dark. It's got crappy CGI effects. But man, is it a fun movie, and I enjoy the hell out of it. So go watch the original, skip this one. Like, just overall, like, if you must watch it, then wait till it's, like, free on a streaming platform that you probably already pay for. Otherwise, I can't recommend this on good conscience. So anyways, that's going to do it for my review. Again, let me know your thoughts, feelings, and opinions down below in the comments. And again, leave me a like on this and subscribe. We're doing all kinds of fun things at the Cinefanatics, so make sure you are subscribed and following along with that. You can follow us on social media. We are at the Cinefanatics on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. You can follow me personally at RCA Reacts on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Letterboxd, and YouTube.com/@RCA Reacts. Anyways, that's going to do it for this video. Thank you for watching. We will see you on the next one. Bye-bye.